Hey, welcome back. This is, I guess, the second segment of shading with paint and creating, highlights and shadows on something as simple as a sphere or a ball. So I'm going to go back into this and begin truing up some things. This got a little too wet, so I dabbed some of the paint and color off. So I'm going to go back and hit this with a bamboo brush. And also, I'm going to use this brush to soften up this hard line right here, and I'm going to soften up this blue and bring that highlight a little farther up. So the first thing I need to do is go to my water. Just going to get the brush wet. And even, you're going to see this, even if the paint is dry, some of that is correctable. You can see it lighten that up just by rubbing a little bit of water on it. Now I'm going to take a brush that's a little finer, a little smaller, 1/4 of an inch, and I'm going to do a little scrubbing of that line and soften that up. I just changed my mind. I don't necessarily want that as thick, and part of my point in doing this for the demo is to show you how forgiving this paint can be. I can really end up taking a lot of it off there if I want, as much as, not quite as much as I want, but almost. And then I can use another brush that I've cleaned and dried, maybe like the bamboo, and I can lift off some of that color and thin that line up. That feels a little bit more like it. Now I'm going to take, well, maybe I'll just take the bamboo brush again, and I'm going to get it wet and swirl it around in my black and blue. I'm going to start with black this time. Now I'm going to limit my number of brush strokes this time. Coming around like that. It gets very, very dark. I'm going to clean my brush and go to the blue. I'm going to soften that edge. I'm going to leave that, just like that. Now, I'm going to do the same thing, nearly the same process for the shadow. You see, this is what happens when it dries. You can create these hard lines on the edges, but you can also layer a very dark color that doesn't really eat through, the colors that are underneath. It sits on top, which is what you want. Clean my brush. And I'm going to work this color in the palette a little bit more. And I'm going to keep swirling and swirling until I can get a very, very thick paint out of it, as thick as watercolor will go. I'm going to hit it again. A little bit darker. Oops, went a little too far over. Now this time, it's going to do some bleeding, but that's okay. It's kind of what I'm hoping it will do, to soften that edge a little bit. And now I'm going to clean the brush. I'm going to do the same thing with the blue. I'm going to swirl this in the blue for a while. Let me turn the camera angle to where you can see. I'm just swirling and swirling and swirling it in that blue. To thicken up the paint is what I'm doing. I'm looking for a thick application of paint. And it'll probably take a few moments to get the amount that I want. Now once I've got that, I'm going to come in here and hit it again with the blue. I'm going to pull some of that outward like this. Now I'm going to go with less water. I'm going to clean and dry the brush and get some of that moisture out of it. Then I'm going to soften that edge. Just a touch of moisture there. And again, I've got a very, very powerful difference between this and this. I'm going to do a little more blue in this area, I think. It needs just a touch more for my you see that yellow that was underneath is still there, and it creates that illusion of that flow or the fade from bright to dark. And I'm going to soften that edge up just a little bit. That edge is a little too hard. Come back and clean my brush and soften it up. Got a pretty good indicator of light source coming this direction. I think that'll work for now.